My ex-boyfriend moved out with his daughter, and I am devastated and don't know what to do. I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to this question, but I'm wondering if anyone's been in a similar situation before and can give me any advice. For some backstory, I met my ex 5 years ago when I was about to be 24 and he was 27. He was the single father to a 1-year-old daughter, Sarah. The mother of his child passed away when she was only 3 months old. I was only 24 and was weary about getting involved with a man with a kid, but we really clicked. As he was his daughter's primary caregiver, I met her pretty early on in our relationship. I never knew if I even wanted to have children, but Sarah really changed things for me. We eventually moved in together, and I've been helping raise Sarah ever since. My ex worked a lot, and I was still a student, so Sarah and I spent a lot of time together when she was young. Once I graduated, I was able to work remotely, so when Sarah's not in school, I'm typically the one taking care of her. We are incredibly close. Unfortunately, things began going south with my ex about 6 months ago. His work schedule's really hard on me, and I struggled with the amount of time that we were able to see each other. I know that sounds selfish. I think my nagging became too much for him, and over the course of 6 months, it feels like I really pushed him away. Over the weekend, he sat me down and told me that he's not in love with me anymore, and he doesn't think that he can continue our relationship. That's a whole other issue that I'm dealing with. I mean, we live together and raise a child together, and now everything is flipped upside down. As upset as I am about this breakup, my main concern is Sarah. I truly do consider her my child. I mean, I've been the closest thing to her mother for the last 5 years. She doesn't know anything but me. My heart physically hurts. I asked my ex what would happen with her, and said that he hopes that I would still be a part of her life, and of course, I want that. I just don't know how to even go about it. How do you co-parent with your ex when you're not technically a parent? I guess my biggest concern is him moving away with her and me not having any rights, or him getting a new girlfriend and deciding it's easier without his ex being so close with his daughter. I'm just stressed to the max right now, Reddit. I have to find a place to live and basically restructure my entire life, but all I can think about is being able to be in this little girl's life forever. Is there any way that I can make that happen? Sorry for all the rambling. Thanks for reading if you made it this far. OP replying to a deleted comment says, I know. I totally feel you and thanks for your input. Those are my other fears. What if he does get married and she gets a new stepmom and she bonds with her and is over me? I'm also worried about seeing him with another girl, but that's mainly my own jealousy. And I think I could work through it for Sarah. I considered just telling him that it'd be easier for a clean break, because maybe that would be easier for Sarah, but at the same time, I'm all she's ever known. We've spent more time together than her and her father these last 5 years, and I'm scared that she'll be mad at him and hurt and not understand. Hell, I'm mad and hurt. I don't want her feeling this way ever. Sorry, I'm just putting my thoughts into words and I'm getting more nervous. You don't have any legal rights to her. The only way to get them is if your ex agrees to let you adopt her. At this point, I'd guess that that's not on the table. Please realize, as heartbreaking as it is, chances are there will come a time when you will be pushed to the back burner. There is little that you can do about this. I think certainly trying to stay in her life is good, and if you see the writing on the wall, for her sake, do what you can to ease your way out instead of disappearing. Do you think your ex would be amenable to going to family counseling to get a professional opinion on how to structure this? As a true life story, my kids bonded with their dad's second wife quite a bit. She was in their lives from 2 to 5. She left one day and never contacted them again. To this day, 5 years later, they still bring her up and are clearly hurt. This is with 2 involved parents in place. My heart breaks for you and your little girl. OP replies, maybe family counseling is good. Your comment breaks my heart. The last thing that I ever want to do is disappear and have Sarah thinking that I didn't love and care about her. I truly consider her my child, and I don't know if I'll have any others. I think that maybe my best bet is to figure out how to peacefully transition out of her life. But even typing that makes me feel like I can't breathe. How do you spend all your waking hours thinking about, worrying about, and caring for a child for 5 years, and then you have to just walk away? It feels like this isn't real life yet. A deleted commenter says, "So my cousin was in this situation some time ago. She basically was raising her boyfriend's 2 kids because he was a shitty parent. They were together for years, but she finally got sick of him and left. She felt bad about the kids though because they called her mum and they loved her. She tried to call them and take them out when she could so that they could keep in contact. Now she's married and has her own kids, but it's still important to these kids, now adults. One of the girls just had a baby, and my cousin was the person that she called when she had questions about her pregnancy, and my cousin was there when her kid was born. You won't be able to be her mum because you aren't her mum. You should still be there for her like an aunt or a close family friend. Hopefully she understands that you care and wants to keep in touch with you." OP says, "Thank you. I want to always be there for her, and I will always be around when she needs me, no matter how this goes down. I logically understand that I'm not her mother and that I have no legal rights to her and need to step back, but when I actually think about doing that, it breaks me. It's hard to act like a family friend when I feel like her mother. I just need to deal with it, I guess." These questions can only be answered by the child's father. Once you've had time to calm down and deal with your life change, meet with him in person. Get coffee or something with him and talk about what he would be okay with involving Sarah in. This will be your opportunity to ask any and all questions. Consider bringing up legal adoption even if you want. This would be the best time to figure it all out. OP says, "I want to sit down and have a talk about the long term with him. I will bring up legal adoption, and now I'm wishing I would have a few years ago, honestly. We'd discussed marriage in the future, and I had just assumed that we would always be together, or I would adopt her after we were married. But I should have pushed for it sooner. Thank you for your advice." Very difficult one, because you have basically been her mum for 5 years, so of course, this is weighing on you so hard. But yeah, like you said, you can push for it, you can push for those legal rights if you want to, but unless he agrees to give them to you, I don't see any other way to have that connection with her. So yeah, that best path forward is to have an honest, open, and calm talk with him. Maybe trying to keep regular contact, even if it's just you visiting or coming to school events or whatever it is. Getting family counseling could help her understand this transition in her life so as not to just ambush her with this and maybe help protect her emotionally. The formal guardianship or adoption later on, I don't know how realistic that is because I don't know how many people would want to do something like that. Hopefully you get yourself some therapy as well, and just know that you loved her and the love that you gave her did matter, it did have an impact, and that this is not the end. And now, on to the update. Hey guys, so I just wanted to update for some of the people who commented and gave me some insight. All your comments were really appreciated and definitely helped me think. So for the last week, my ex has been staying with family when he's not at work, and we've been sharing time with Sarah. We met up this weekend to talk about everything and our life plan. He basically said that he does still love me, but that his schedule is just not something that can change for him anytime soon. I'm trying to be understanding and supportive because I do want to be with him and Sarah. We're going to look into counseling for us as a couple and also family counseling for the 3 of us. I did bring up legal adoption of Sarah. I was shocked when he said he was thinking of the same thing. He said that no matter what happens with us as a couple, he always wants me to be a parental figure to Sarah. We had both hoped that someday I would adopt her. We just didn't see us breaking up or it becoming an issue. I'm so glad that we're on the same page about that. I'm over the moon, and we're going to meet with a lawyer on Friday to get the ball rolling on that. I'm hoping that this relationship can be saved, because I really do feel like I have family with them. My number one priority throughout this has been Sarah, and I can't even explain how happy that I am that I'll get to legally be her parent. I know that I won't ever be her mother, but I'm glad that we will be together no matter what. Thanks, Reddit. Sorry this is kind of all over the place. We're still figuring everything out, but I just wanted to update. Edit, Thank you all so much for all your comments. This got bigger than I expected. Thanks for all the kind words. To people that think that I'm being taken advantage of for free childcare, please realize that I've happily cared for Sarah for the last 5 years and have no problem continuing to do so. To whoever gilded me, thank you so much. In the comments, Sir Boogie the Cat says, "This is a good update. I really hope everything works out for the both of you. I'm so happy that you talked about adopting Sarah and he agreed. Good luck with everything, OP. If you legally adopt Sarah but he maintains custody, would you be required to pay child support?" OP says, "That's a good question that I'm hoping to have answered when I meet with a lawyer." Yes. The answer is yes. Mini update from OP's comment history, which seems to suggest that they stayed together 2 years later. OP said, "I would venture that it doesn't have a ton to do with how much money you make, and a lot more to do with him coming home from a long day and seeing you still in your PJs, even if you did work a hard day. I work remotely and make very close to what my fiancé makes, and this is a discussion that we've had several times, and still have occasionally. Working remotely isn't for everyone, and not everyone will have an opportunity to do it, so they don't understand it. It's not your fault, or his, but it's definitely worth talking through if it's important to you. What I do is explain to him my tasks and deadlines and the pressure that I am feeling. I explain that no, I can't do all the laundry, dishes, and childcare while I'm at home because I also have a job to do. It might not solve all of your problems, but just explaining what I do all day, every day, has definitely helped us curb his jealousy." Rainy Reminder says, "In addition to your point about work from home, most workplaces won't allow you to work from home if you don't have childcare arrangements." OP says, "True. Luckily, my employer didn't. Before our kid was in school, she was home with me 3 days a week while I worked and was in daycare too. That was a constant fight on why I couldn't just look after her all 5, but I would have 100% lost my job and close to half our income. I honestly think sometimes working remotely is harder because you really have to be disciplined and have good time management. Honestly, I'm glad that everything worked out here because this was a surprisingly mature resolution. I genuinely didn't see a reality in which he would be okay with her legally adopting Sarah, so I'm very surprised. The fact that both of them wanted to pursue counseling and legal adoption made me kind of feel like the relationship wasn't at its end and that maybe he was just overthinking things, because I'm glad it didn't end up that way, where they were broken up. For Sarah's sake as well, this was the best outcome of the situation, and hopefully they take the lessons that they learn from this and continue to apply them to whatever situations they find themselves in the future dealing with. Thanks for the story, OP. I hope that you guys continue to be one big happy family going forward. Our next post is from the r/office subreddit, and it's titled, "My coworker keeps translating what I say in meetings like I'm invisible." So I've got this coworker. Let's call him Dan. Every time I speak up in a meeting, he feels the need to rephrase what I just said. For example, I'll say, "We should probably merge those 2 reports to avoid duplicate work." Dan immediately jumps in and says, "Yeah, what OP means is that we can optimize our reporting process by consolidating data streams." Like, dude, that's literally what I just said in English. It's gotten to the point where other people look at him like, huh? But he keeps doing it. Sometimes my manager even credits him for ideas that I already said out loud minutes earlier because he's the one who reframed it. I don't want to be petty, but it's infuriating watching someone basically run your sentences through Google Translate for visibility points. How do you even call that out without sounding confrontational? Like, thanks, Dan, but I just said that. Or do I just let him keep doing his little TED Talk summaries? In the comments, yes, that's exactly what I just said. Every single time. Be petty. Watch him squirm until he stops doing it. OP says, "Yeah, I think you're right. I've been trying to play it cool, but maybe a little petty consistency is the only way that he'll realize how ridiculous it sounds. Be petty. Call him right out on it. Or You can pull him aside and ask him why he does it, or if he notices. Then, if he takes no ownership of it and does it again, you turn up the pettiness to 1,000% and call him out in front of everyone. You would have given him the chance to get ahead of it, but he didn't, so now he should get what he deserved. OP says, I think I'll try the polite route first. But I swear, if he rephrases me one more time, I'm going full pettycore in front of everyone. Do it, OP. Do it in a way that you're not going to get pulled into HR for creating a hostile work environment, but definitely do it. Maybe you got to start it in a subtle way and ramp up to, peak pettiness. Just immediately rebutting and saying, yep, that's exactly what I just mentioned. I'm glad we're on the same page, man. And I'd copy his cadence when you say it back to him. Same tone, same body language, same everything. See if he picks up on that. I'm willing to believe that this is fully intentional on his part and he does know what he's doing. Saying that it's not intentional would be crazy because it is such a noticeable pattern that I think it's a reach to say that he doesn't know what he's doing. And now, onto the update. So a week ago, I posted about my coworker Dan, who has this lovely habit of repeating everything I say in meetings like he's my personal interpreter. Most of you told me to call it out directly, so I did. We were in our weekly sync. I made a point about how to streamline our reporting process, and like clockwork, Dan jumped in with his version 2 seconds later. So I turned to him, calmly by the way, and said, Dan, was something unclear about what I said? You seem to repeat my point a lot, and I'm wondering why. You could have heard a pin drop. The entire room went quiet. He started stammering something about, just trying to add clarity. And before I could even respond, my manager cut in with, whoa, what's going on here? Dan always contributes great ideas. Are you feeling a little defensive? Defensive? Because I asked someone to stop parroting me. And then he said, you don't need to compensate with your teammates. We're all on the same side. I swear, I just sat there blinking like, what dimension am I in? He's literally repeating my ideas and getting credit, and somehow I'm the jealous one? To make it worse, every guy in the room suddenly got very interested in their laptops. No one said a word. I'm the only woman on the team, and it honestly couldn't have been more textbook if it tried. So yeah, instead of solving the problem, I've apparently become the emotional one. I'm documenting everything now because I'm not letting this slide quietly again. In the comments, I remember your post and had commented at that time. I'm sorry that your approach fell flat. You may well find that, now you've called it out, Dan may mysteriously stop parroting you. Whether he does or doesn't, I think you should approach your manager about it one-to-one. After their reaction to the scenario, you have perfect grounds to open a dialogue about it and articulate perfectly well why you spoke up to Dan and that you feel he frequently recycles your thoughts and takes the credit. Be humble. Explain that you are very much a team player, but also the impact that Dan's behavior is having on you. I wish you the best, OP. OP says, thank you. Seriously. I really appreciate how you phrased that. It's level-headed and fair, which is hard to be when you're frustrated. I've been debating whether to talk to my manager again, but I think framing it calmly like you said, as impact, not accusation, might actually get through. I don't want to seem defensive, I just want credit for the work I actually do. OP on trying to do the right things. It's wild how standing up for basic fairness somehow turns into being difficult or emotional. You try to do the right thing and suddenly you're the problem. It really does start to make you question if caring is worth it sometimes. Another commenter says, I personally would have addressed that one-to-one and not in a team meeting, but maybe I'm about to get downvoted. OP says, I probably should have done it one-on-one, but in the moment, it just hit that breaking point where I was tired of being talked over in front of everyone. It wasn't about drama, I just wanted it to stop. Well, whatever you do, make sure you have a written or recorded documentation going forward. Any discussion you have, immediately send an email with a recap of the conversation. I'm the only woman in my team too. I'm sorry you have to deal with this. OP says, I've started documenting everything after this, just to have a record in case it gets twisted again. It sucks that so many of us even need to think that way just to feel safe at work. I'm sorry that you're in the same position too. Hopefully Dan catches on, but if he keeps going, give him an intro. And here's Dan to mansplain what I just said. And OP says, I was so tempted to do exactly that. The amount of self-control it took not to say, and now for Dan's live translation, was unreal. If he keeps it up, I might just have to lean into the sarcasm a bit. I hope you do. It doesn't sound like it's going well for you, because standing up for yourself didn't work. And that defensive comment that your manager made was just, I don't know, it felt like cheap deflection. Everyone obviously knows that Dan's doing this, but now, it might be turned on you for you creating a toxic work environment here. Definitely start documenting this, but at the same time, maybe start looking for a new job, because I feel like this is the start of something that could lead to them finding a reason to give you a layoff. Hopefully you can defend yourself and get HR looped into this with examples of the workplace actually being hostile towards you, but who knows? Good luck with it, OP. I want Dan to leave you alone, but it sounds like it's kind of out of your hands a bit at this point. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.